Close my eyes, drew back the curtain.
Our guest today is an award-winning stage and screen actor, singer, writer, reality TV star, and radio presenter. He hails from the land down under and is one of the busiest men in show business. He started out as an actor, following his parents into the business, and made his first TV appearance in 1980 at the tender age of just 11. A mere 7 years later, he would join the hugely popular soap Neighbours and achieve massive fame before moving into music. Hot on the heels of his chart-topping castmate Kylie Minogue, he first signed with Mushroom Records in Australia and then with PWL to work with Stock Aitken and Waterman. His first single, Nothing Can Divide Us, which I bought, was actually rejected by Rick Astley, but it's worked out a winner for him, reaching number 5 in the UK, but number 3 in Ireland. In all, he's had 4 UK number 1 singles, 5 in Ireland. Ireland loves this man, and has sold over 3 million records in the UK alone. His debut album, 10 Good Reasons, has sales of over 1.5 million in the UK and hit the number 1 spot across many countries. In 1989, he had 5 number 1s and the Christmas number 1 with Band Aid too. Not even the Beatles, U2 or Westlife can claim that statistic. In 1991, he signed up for the iconic lead role in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which kick-started a very successful stage career that's seen him appear in The Rocky Horror Show, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, The Sound of Music, $1 Million Quartet, to name just a few of the huge shows he's been a part of. In 2006, he returned to Australia for I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and came a credible third after undertaking numerous stomach-churning Bush Tucker trials. However, despite his stage and reality show success, he was unable to stay away from music, and in 2008, he released his first album in 15 years, Let It Be Me. In 2010, he released Soundtrack of the 80s, a homage to well-known 80s hits, featuring his cover versions of the iconic tracks like Drive by The Cars and I Just Died in Your Arms by Cutting Crew. In 2011, he tripped the light fantastic, finishing an impressive third on Strictly Come Dancing. In 2012, he released a new album of covers, Sign of Your Love, and that same year he turned talent show judge on ITV's Superstar, putting all his years of experience across the business to good use. Last year he came full circle when he returned to Neighbours, the soap that made his name, for a special appearance in what was supposed to be the final ever episode of the show. He's a regular face on TV advertisements. He's currently starring again in The Rocky Horror Show in Australia, preparing for an amazing solo show at the O2 in London. And phew, my head is spinning. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is the multi-talented, ever busy, but truly lovely, Jason Donovan. Hi.
Wow, what an introduction. That's has taken my, I mean, even I'm excited about my biography listening to that, Sharon. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's very hard to shorten your intro, Greg Jason, when you've done so much. But in your very hectic schedule, thank you so much for giving us your time today to have a quick chat with us. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you.
I'm a huge fan. I worked in advertising in my teens, and I tagged along with the journalists and the photographers when you flew into Sutton Hospital to present a fundraising check. I think it was 87, 88. I loitered as a student outside the Rocky Horror Show in Bristol so that you could sign my breasts.
Wow,
I'm fairly sane,
okay.
I promise you, but I am a big fan. I love Rocky Horror, and your Frank is iconic. It's only just bettered by the incredible Tim Curry. So, I wish I could. I wish I could get over to Australia.
That's awesome. Well, you never know. You never know what might happen on that front. You never know.
Let's hope it comes back, and let's hope it comes to Ireland. So we've got some questions from us and from the audience. I had so many questions for you. I know we're not going to fit them all in, but we'll do our best. First of all, what's the best and worst thing about being a teen idol? And at the height of Jason mania, did you ever think you'd still be singing these songs to screaming audiences all these decades later?
What's the best thing about it? I mean, I listen, Sharon. I don't really sort of see myself as never saw myself as a teen idol. That's a label that sort of gets put upon you. My focus was always on my craft and my acting and stroke singing. That's the thing that always sort of the clarity, the you got to keep your focus on the craft, and then the rest sort of follows suit as a result of that. But if I was a teen idol, then that got me a base of fans, and it got me to the people that were listening to my music and watching shows like Neighbour. I'll take that. I think the challenge is always to reinvent oneself and mature with that sort of title, because it tends to sort of not restrict you, but tends to pigeonhole you into certain ways that people think. But I guess it's about the choices you make beyond that, and I think a career is a long distance run, not a sprint. I think the only guilty thing I've been thinking of sometimes, particularly in those days, was always trying to do too much too soon, and capitalize and think that I had to maintain that success in one way, sort of shape or form, when actually, that was not really necessary to do. So listen, I think, as a male, particularly, I feel that I've matured over the years, and maybe, and that's, I'm not saying a male or a female. I'm just saying me as Jason Donovan. With the work that I've done and the people that I've met, and actually, those sort of teen idol labels tend to, if you you last the distance, turn into a sort of a respectful appreciation of your talents, as opposed to just maybe your looks. Yeah.
Well, I think you've proved you've proved your skills across so many things, so many platforms. So your longevity, I think, is guaranteed. I've got a question from Michelle, and she's asked, I, like a lot of my friends, had your posters hanging all over my bedroom walls. Who was your poster pin up on your walls when you were a teen?
A lot of my idols were probably Australian musicians. I was brought up obviously in Australia, but I was a big Abba fan. I was a massive Kiss fan. I was a David-Bowie fan. In my sort of more later years, I was a massive U2 fan. Sting. Midnight Oil was a big part of my childhood. I grew up with listening to music that either was quite alternative, New Order, Heaven 17, da. And also I really appreciated music with a message, pop music with a message, sort of intelligent pop music. But I also love just throwaway pop as well, which is probably why, in a way, I've landed. I landed at Stockake and Waterman. Is because I couldn't not miss that opportunity. When I listened to Never Gonna Give You Up back in 1988 or 87, I mean, that record changed my life. I was like, what is this song? And music is magic. Music takes you to a time and a place that no other medium can do. And I think pop music, because it appeals particularly to a younger generation that isn't harmed by life and all the things that sort of come with growing older and responsibilities. It's a very pure sort of appreciation, and it's almost like a drug in a way. So I was that kid as well. I love a 3.5 minute pop song.
Yeah, no, nothing wrong with that. Yvonne has asked, what advice would you give your 1980s self, and would you have listened to it?
The advice I'd give my 1980s self was take your time, be a little bit more thoughtful about your choices, maybe say no to a few more things. I would say to my 1980s self, avoid drugs at all costs. I would say to my 1980s self, just be authentic and be true to yourself, which I have, I believe, in my life. But I think, another thing I would say, is keep fit, keep healthy in the mind. Physical fitness and mental health go hand in hand, I think. Yeah, that's probably what I would say.
Super, thank you. From Team Donovan, who I think is a fan page, what's your favourite song to perform live?
Well, I mean, I listen, Too Many Broken Hearts always brings the house down. So I have to obviously that's like a child of mine in a way. But there's songs like It Was Yesterday. There's a song, I've been listening to recently called Talk You Down, which I think is a great pop record. I love All I Want to Do, which is the Kylie and I A side to Especially for You, not the B side, an A side. So I like it's hard to decide, but I tend to like songs when they're stripped back a little bit, because what happened to me was a lot of the music was quite electronic driven, and I enjoy listening to myself sing with just a guitar or with a band, that doesn't have too much sequencing involved.
Fair enough. Michelle has asked, Philip Schofield and Donny Osmond still famously have their Joseph Dreamcoats. Did you keep yours?
Yes, I have mine, and I've always felt that if things went terribly wrong financially, and I needed to cash in at some point, you might see it at Sotheby's in a theatrical auction. I also don't think my children are going to appreciate it as much as I do. So maybe there is a sense that coat will appear in an auction somewhere at some point, but not just yet. Not just yet.
Good. Jane has asked, after starring in Priscilla, how did you find it moving into the producer role? And did you discuss Priscilla with Guy Pearce before originally taking on the role?
No, to the latter with Guy, I didn't. But the history of Priscilla is that I actually was involved in the original film casting, but I turned it down. And I took on the role of the producer because I'd done 3 stage tours of that show plus the West End, and I felt that my sort of knowledge of the product was good enough to warrant being a producer. I also was very keen, if I was going to do something like producing, to be involved in a product I was passionate about. I mean, Priscilla, Australia, Jason, tour, it sort of makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Absolutely. My motorhome was called Priscilla, Queen of the West Country, when I lived in England. So
right, love that.
I love it. It's a great show. Okay, we'll touch quickly on the neighbours' questions. I've filtered them down, but on social media, it's evident actually that you're such a family man, and your kids are always in your posts. They're truly stunning. Your father and daughter both also starred in Neighbours. Do you feel like Neighbours is a bit of a family business now?
Well, I mean, it certainly has been a wonderful opportunity for many Australian performers, and my father and my daughter are both Australian. My daughter has an Australian passport. My dad's been acting in Australia for years. Look, I think I think if you're an Australian and you're an actor, it's pretty rare to not be in a show like Neighbours if it was on television for 35 years. But I think, I think Dad and both Gemma, I mean, Gemma did 4 years or 3 years. I think Dad did about 5. It's a great training ground. And just because I was in it in its early days and because of its success doesn't mean that it should exclude my family. And in fact, I'm, proud of any of my family and their achievements. And I'm very lucky with my family that particularly through my dad, I was given the gift of acting and entertaining. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here probably speaking to you now.
No, well, absolutely, absolutely. And family's so important. You and Kylie worked scheduling miracles to appear in what was supposed to be the last ever episode of Neighbours. Margaret's asked, what was it like going back to Ramsay Street for the reunion special? And would you pop back for a cameo now that it's been recommissioned?
In answer to your last question, no, because we did that for the end and that was considered the end, but it wasn't the end. I'm happy that Neighbours has been recommissioned because it provides work opportunity for lots of Australian technicians and actors, and so to that extent, I think it's it's a really positive thing. Was I surprised that it came back so quickly? Yes, I think I was, but expect the unexpected in life. In terms of the actual day with Kylie. Yeah, I mean, it was sentimental. I think it means a lot more the actual the pictures and the airing of the episode meant more to the public probably than it meant to us in a way, because those 5 years I was on the show, you can't eclipse that. That's why we made a very conscious decision not to do a lot on that last episode.
Yeah. You've done so much. Does it ever get frustrating for you mainly being referred back to Neighbours and your association with Kylie?
No, because I am proud of that association, and you've got to start somewhere. And, I think, I understand the significance of that moment to many people. I wish I'd done maybe written or been in some really big some sort of film of significance, or written a song that might have eclipsed those moments. But when I look in the mirror, I'm pretty lucky and pretty happy. I think you create your own luck in life, but I do think timing is everything, and I'm lucky to have experienced what I've experienced, because and I'm grateful, because some people even don't get an ounce of what has happened to me. So I'm lucky, and do you know what? It's given me a great life. So
absolutely,
as long as I'm healthy, it's okay.
And there's still time for that big blockbuster to come into your lap
Oh,
for you and
Sharon.
Kylie. For you and Kylie to
Yeah.
do. I'll get
No,
writing.
No, not her. I mean, with respect, but no, it'd be just me. It'll be just me.
Just you. Fran has asked, are you aware there's a takeaway van called the Jason Donner van? And have you ever tasted?
Yeah, I am.
Have you tasted its wares?
I have tasted its the kebabs, and they're great. And I'm I know a lot of high profile people, and I can't think of one that has a kebab name or kebab van named after them. So I'm very unique and elitist and very grateful.
Super.
But still a man of the people, because kebabs are not, caviar and smoked salmon, are they?
No, keeping you in touch with the people, definitely. Katrina's asked, you were my first concert in Dublin when I was 9. What's been your biggest learning in the decade since?
Well, I mean, as I've sort of said to you, keep your eyes on your craft, and what inspires me is my passion for performing and the artist within me, as well as my family and, the people I have. I mean, it's not all just about being an actor, it's important to have, a focus outside family and because ultimately that brings in your support system and your ability to live. But not everything is about being, Jason Donovan all the time. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's a bigger picture than that.
Absolutely. How did you choose the songs for your album Soundtracks of the 80s? Were they all personal favourites of yours?
No and yes. I was conscious that we had to make commercial decisions as much as songs that I liked, and also songs that I could sing. It's hard to, a Cure song, only really sounds good on Robert Smith, doesn't it? I mean, you can try, but, or a New Order song, so do you know what I mean? It was sort of a little bit about that.
Jason Donovan does Kiss, I think it would be good.
Yeah. Let's keep it to that. Let's keep it to that.
Okay. A couple of family questions. Obviously, you met your wife after your initial frenzy in the pop world. What does she make of the fact that you were such a huge heartthrob? And what do your children think about your pop star past?
Do you know what? I don't think none of them care. As long as they get, as long as the kids can get into pop concerts through my connections, I don't think, and as long as the school fees are paid and their allowances are in on time and their inheritance is still in check, I don't think they even give us stuff, really.
Fair enough.
I'd have to get you to ask them what they think about that. I'm embarrassing some parts, but also, with age, those things can sometimes get exciting. My daughter came to a concert of mine. My 12-year-old daughter came to a concert of mine a few years back, and I said, "Would you like to, sit on the side of the stage and watch Dad perform?" And she said, "No, I'm not a fan."
Oh, well, that's it. From the mouths of your children, hey, you get the cleanest honesty.
Yeah, the truth.
The truth, absolutely. Okay, well, finally from Claire, she says, do you ever reflect on how many broken hearts there are in the world, Jason? We'll finish with a cheesy question.
You know what? There's too many, Sharon, to reflect upon.
Absolutely. Well, Jason, it's been an absolute pleasure and an honour to chat to you today. I hope you have a brilliant time at the O2 next week. I'm gutted I can't make it, but we can't wait to welcome you at Forever Young in the summer after several postponements due to COVID. So, ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Mr. Jason Donovan. Thank you. Cheers. Super job. And with your nail varnish still from, is that still from Rocky?
Rocky Horror. Woo. All right, Sharon. Take care, guys.